Coming up.
Nobody told me to move.
Extra little oohs and ahs.
Why was it that she became the witch of history?
Intense and stimulating, if you know what I mean.
Well, there's that, yeah.
As big or as small or as wide or as whatever you want.
There was one that was just numbers and letters.
That's a brave decision, Toby, I have to say.
How do you say that?
Wonkily written scripts.
I barely knew you'd started.
Of course I do.
I still have nightmares about that.
There's a sort of soft gorgeousness to it.
My imagination is running.
And it will benefit you throughout the rest of your life. And now, enjoy the podcast.
How do you say that?
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 Hello and welcome to today's episode of How Do You Say That? Sponsored by VoxBox, the portable, foldable, storable audio booth. This is my co-host, Mark Rice.
I thought there was going to be a drum roll then, but I'm very disappointed that there wasn't. And this is Sam Boffin.
Yay! Hello. Every week, Mark and I, and a very special guest, chat about scripts and voice acting and how to get even better at what we all do.
So if you fancy a bit of that, then this podcast is especially for you.
And this week's fun fact about Mark is that he is I'm so jealous, he's about to jet off to the sunshine for a fortnight's holiday.
For a whole fortnight.
Fortnight.
But I am taking the VoxBox and I am going to record 2 episodes of the podcast while I'm on holiday. So how's that for dedication, okay?
That's dedication, but I will be very jealous of the background in your booth.
The
your
sunshine,
booth.
people playing in the pool. I know, absolutely. Well, Sam's fun fact is that she once nearly got kicked in the head by a wild horse. This doesn't sound nearly so much fun.
On a slightly less salubrious holiday, I have to say. This was because we were camping and we could hear some horses rustling about outside the tent. And so the family we were with in the next door tent and my husband got up to investigate. And unbeknownst to me, at that moment, the horses' hooves, and they could have reared at any point, were literally inches from where I was asleep in. Oh. Nobody told me to move. Nobody said,
of course not.
While we talk to the horse, best if you just move out of the way. No, none of that. They just horse whispered him away, thank goodness.
I love the fact that the story is nearly got kicked in the head. So that's good. It's good.
Nearly got kicked in the head. And of course, we also have this week's very special guest, voice actor Toby Jackson. Hello, Toby.
Hi, Toby.
Hello.
Lovely.
Let's find out a bit more about Toby. He joins us from Manchester. Let's find out a bit more.
So Toby started out studying game design at university so that he could become a game developer. But he left that course after 1 week because he, and I quote, didn't like how they were doing things. So one of his first jobs was making e-learning programs for students, which inspired him to learn how to be a voiceover because those e-learning programs needed some VO.
Indeed. Well, fast forward 4 years and he's just voiced his first video game set to be released soon and carried on his game development journey by making his own game and documenting it all online. Well, welcome to the podcast, Toby. Fascinating stuff. Have you got a fun fact for us?
Yes. So I was trying to think of a fun fact about myself, and then I realised my previous full-time employment that ended this year because I was made redundant in February ended not so gracefully because I was in a big meeting with the CEO and all the other employees and they didn't treat me that well there. So I just decided to tell them all that the product they were making was rubbish and absolutely ripped into them all.
That's a brave decision, Toby.
It's a ballsy move, Sam, isn't it?
Ballsy move, yeah.
It's basically where I learned to not take shit from anyone anymore.
Nice. Good.
Nice.
And it will benefit you throughout the rest of your life.
Oh, yes.
And on that bombshell, we will have a look at the first script of the show and ask, how do you say that?
How do you say that?
Okay, so Toby, tell us a little bit about your script that you brought with you.
It looks a bit devilish, this.
Yes.
Yeah, so it was the nicest out of some of the chunks in the main script.
Yeah.
And this is something in when I was making those e-learning programs that you mentioned, this is for one of those programs. This is telling a student from an instructor point of view how to survey a site for implementing an electric vehicle charger.
Gosh.
Oh, well, that answers my question. What does EVC stand for? So
Yep.
that's good. And you've also told us who we're talking to and who we are. So we are very definitely instructor.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. And with this, it's a type of e-learning program where it's like a 3D environment, and it's more like a game. So you're playing an actual human character, and you're sort of having a general conversation with the student.
But is this with quite a lot of energy? Would you say you're quite an energetic person? Would you?
A mid-range of energy, I would say, because you're still sort of it was not greatly written, and that's kind of actually why I wanted to bring it in.
They never are, Toby. That's the problem.
No, yeah. So because it's meant to be, you're meant to be talking to a student in a realistic manner, but there's so much information in here that you wouldn't say it like you normally would.
So realistic manner. So more conversational than kind of straight talking at people. Okay, fine. That's good. That's good to know.
Were you within this just a voice, or were you an animated character?
You're an animated character.
Question.
I thought you might be. Okay, yeah.
So it can be a bit more characterful.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Oh, potentially.
Yes. Yeah.
Interesting. Do you want to go first, Sam?
Yeah. Okay, cool. Next, you want to find out some initial information about what type of EVC they would like and discuss some options with them, such as what the benefits or disadvantages would be with certain product choices. The types of thing a customer would need to consider are aesthetics, cost, safety features, connectivity from the installation location, and finally, whether it is a suitable product for the existing electrical system at the property, which you will assess when you conduct the site survey. But the customer should understand that this could affect the product options available to them.
I definitely got who you were talking to.
No, yeah, I liked it. I definitely thought maybe it was a little stiff in places,
okay.
quite samey throughout. Maybe if you brought waves, to it, so because when you're generally talking to someone in sort of like a conversation, it sort of goes up and down in places, and I thought maybe it was a bit all the same all the way through. But I mean, the information was it was very clear with how you said it, I thought.
So I suppose I was erring on the that sort of more characterful, less conversational. But yeah,
you definitely
absolutely
went less conversational than I thought you would, Sam.
Yeah, I was originally, before we talked about the fact that it was an animation, and remember, I don't do these things at all. But I was thinking to myself, maybe you need to be that kind of slightly cartoony almost. So I went in a little more cartoony than I would normally do.
Okay.
But anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's really interesting. Okay.
All right, let me have a go. I'm going to try. So I'm going to try and put more conversational into it after those notes, just to let's see. Next, you want to find out some initial information about what type of EVC they'd like and discuss some options with them, such as what benefits or disadvantages would be with certain product choices. The types of things a customer would need to consider are aesthetics, cost, safety features, connectivity from the installation location, and finally, whether it's a suitable product for the existing electrical system at the property, which you'll assess when you conduct the site survey. But the customer should understand that this could affect the product options available to them.
Nice.
Nice, yeah. I think I like the speed on that one was really good.
Oh my God, I actually get speed is good.
Funny, I was going to say it was too fast because I would have struggled to follow that.
Yeah, I can see that. I think the speed was all right, was good. And sort of like the way, I think, like near the middle where you sort of added in some extra little oohs and ahs.
There was a straight
Yeah.
Yeah. To try and make it conversational. I was trying very hard to make it conversational.
Honestly, Mark, it was fantastic in that sense. I barely knew you'd started. Now, and that is it genuinely from your normal conversational voice.
Yes.
And going into that, I thought, oh my God, he's actually started. That's just, and actually that's such an amazing thing to be able to do. I honestly, there was kind of like, oh God, yes, of course, he's doing the script. What would be the advantage in being fast with a
makes it more playful? I think with this one, I think it's the things with all these. They were quite boring scripts.
But what
And
about
so I think if
landing the information, though? Surely you need to land the information if you're just fast.
So with this also, maybe I should have actually said this before, you also have the text on screen at all times.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Right, so there is a visual prompt as well about what's being said specifically.
So you see the person, you see the text, and you're having the text spoken to you.
Right,
and I
okay.
think because it's for students, it's for people in like college, I think trying to make it more fun can help.
Overrides the... Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Can we hear how you did it, Toby?
Yeah. How did you do it?
Yeah, sure. So next, you want to find out some initial information about what type of EVC they would like, and discuss some options with them, such as what the benefits or disadvantages would be with certain product choices. The types of things a customer would need to consider are aesthetics, costs, safety features, connectivity from the initial installation location, and finally, whether it is a suitable product for the existing electrical system at the property, which you'll assess when you conduct the site survey. But the customer should understand that this could affect the product options available to them.
It was interesting. I really love the way you went into it with the so,
Yeah.
because because suddenly it changes it from a very bald next,
Yes.
which is script, to so is definitely conversation, and you nailed that right from the very beginning.
Yeah.
The sentences didn't feel right to say, so I always included extra words that weren't always in the script, but just felt right to say.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
So in fact, if we had quote unquote ad-libbed around it slightly more,
Yeah.
it would have been more
Yeah.
conversational anyway. Okay.
Oh,
That was
so
the one
interesting.
piece of direction that we didn't have that we
Well, no,
probably, but
yeah,
interesting.
useful
Yeah.
to know. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really interesting trying to adapt all these really wonkily written scripts, because they weren't written by
It's a great way of putting it. Wonkily written
by random people.
It's a great
Yeah.
term.
I mean, it's a sensible point to say these are real scripts that we're working on, but we have changed names and some details to avoid copyright issues.
Absolutely.
Sam, you've brought script 2 this week.
I
What have you brought
I've
us?
bought a script. Well, what do you think I bought, guys?
It looks like historical, documentary, potentially
documentary
even...
is what I was thinking.
Yep.
Well, potentially, Toby, how about, because I know Sam does some of this, exhibit in a museum that's showing Wallis Simpson stuff?
Potentially.
Yeah, it could be like a walk around sort of...
Yeah. Audio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when I was looking at it, it sort of reminded me of the BBC documentary programs of like someone walking towards a camera in a field behind like a castle, and that's sort of what I was imagining.
Yeah.
I've watched so many
That
of
would
them.
be
I know
so cool.
exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. You're absolutely right. It is a documentary.
Sure. So Wallis Simpson has been introduced,
Yeah.
and now it's like, why
Yeah.
was it that she became
Exactly.
the witch of history?
Yeah, absolutely. And was
Yeah,
it
yeah,
actually,
yeah.
something that Edward was as much part of?
Yeah.
So it's quite. It's a cool little doc, actually.
What kind of audience? A Channel 4 audience? A Netflix audience? Who's watching this?
Okay, that's actually a really good point. So this is not a BBC 4 doc. It's not highbrow in that sense. But, in sort of newspaper terms, it would be more Daily Mirror or Sun.
Tabloidy.
Right.
Well, it is Netflix, in fact, but it's
Okay.
it deals with quite interesting issues. So it's not, it's not the same old that you've seen or heard before. So it does delve into different things.
Is it the type of Netflix one where it's like quite intense and stimulating, if you know what I mean?
No, I wouldn't say this is up in your face. This has got a lot of gorgeous clips in it, because I suppose it's about the royals and the and the abdication of King Edward. It's softer in that sense. I mean, it's not like a crime one or something like that. It's got, there's a sort of soft gorgeousness to it, but at the same time, it does deal with some interesting issues.
Well, I'll go first, Toby. Then you have a go, and we'll see what Sam did in the end. All right, here we go. Most of what we know about Wallis Simpson is the unforgettable affair that led to the abdication of King Edward VIII. Yet Bessie Wallis Warfield was once just a girl from Blue Ridge Summit, Pennsylvania. So how exactly did this American socialite and divorcee lure the King of England away from the throne? And what was Edward's strategy here? Did he ever really want to become king at all? Was Wallis simply a guaranteed way out of a life he never wanted in the first place?
I was quite intrigued. I really like the lure that you said. That really like sort of pulls you in. And some of the words you chose to emphasize were quite good. Yeah.
So I think
I'm getting the feeling that Sam hated that read.
No, I didn't hate it at all. Not at all. No, I thought there were some fantastic bits in it. I think that the colour that you brought to some of the words was possibly too much.
Too much. Okay. Yeah.
And if I suppose that is the difference between what we were talking about before. If there's a tabloidy sensationalist aspect to it,
yes.
then what that does is it brings that home, that kind of way of doing it. Whereas, in fact, I don't think it's quite as sensationalist as that.
So if I were to do that again as director, you would say pull back 50% at least.
Yes, probably. I mean, because interestingly, from the moment you started, you coloured most, in fact, most of what we know about it was that there was quite a lot of leaning
which was
into
very
certain
deliberate.
words.
But now you come to talk about it. Yes, that actually made it more tabloid rather than less tabloid.
Yeah.
But actually, it's a really useful thing to be aware of, because in fact, if somebody does want it tabloidy, then perhaps those are the sort of things that you can bring into it to make the difference.
I sort of like that sort of style, so I think I have a bias towards liking it.
Fair.
And actually, that's an interesting point, because I think we all individually have biases towards things, but of course, I guess we're all making these things for other people. Both
True.
The listener, but also the director or whoever it is. So we have to kind of bend, even if we secretly think, really? Oh, I wouldn't do it like that. You kind of have to ask them what they need and do it.
Toby, would you like a go at this one?
Yeah, sure.
I'm glad you said that. Otherwise, the format of the show falls to pieces.
Don't give them the choice, for God's
No,
sake.
and I get out my booth.
Oh, no.
Most of what we know about Wallis Simpson is the unforgettable affair that led to the abdication of King Edward VIII. Yet, Bessie Wallis Warfield was just a girl from Blue Ridge Summit, Pennsylvania. So how exactly did this American socialite and divorcee lure the King of England away from the throne? And what was Edward's strategy here? Did he ever really want to become king at all? Or was Wallis simply a guaranteed way out of the life he never wanted in the first place?
Oh, do you know, you brought me journalistic vibes there.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
You really did.
And I'll tell you where it changed. For me, you went quite tabloidy on the word unforgettable. And then I think in your brain, you went, oh no, not tabloidy. And you pulled right back from that and it went journalistic after that word.
Yeah.
In a really good way.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely, in a really good way. It felt like I could imagine you as the in-vision presenter for this, and this was a bit of the voiceover on that, if you see what I mean.
Absolutely.
And I could see you, walking about the castles and byways or whatever
about
it is
to
that
throw
the
to the
royals
break.
have. And I really could see that. You had an ease.
Yeah, I mean, that is kind of what I was imagining. I think I said at the beginning, that's sort of what I saw in this. And so that's sort of where I pictured I was. And I was sort of like doing the walking motion almost.
Doing the walking motion. Love it.
Let's see what you did with it, Sam, shall we? I think I know what we're going to get. Let's have a listen, though.
Okay. Most of what we know about Wallis Simpson is the unforgettable affair that led to the abdication of King Edward VIII. Yet Bessie Wallis Warfield was once just a girl from Blue Ridge Summit, Pennsylvania. So, how exactly did this American socialite and divorcee lure the King of England away from the throne? And what was Edward's strategy here? Did he ever really want to become king at all? Was Wallis simply a guaranteed way out of a life he never wanted in the first place?
I love the use of punctuation there, because you added much as you say ignore punctuation, you added quite a lot of punctuation to this one.
Yeah, ignoring punctuation is often about adding.
I mean, too right. I really enjoyed, she was once just a girl.
Yeah, the pauses, I really like those.
It entirely changed the nature of that sentence.
Yeah.
Which was lovely. It really was.
That really emphasises it in a way that you're not actually emphasising the word, but the gaps in between.
I think what we wanted to do with this is have a playful approach.
Yep.
So Wallis Simpson was quite she's quite iconic, and she was
A
quite
divisive character.
Yeah, and she
Yeah.
was very much her own woman, and there was, if you look at the pictures of her with him, there was a lot of sort of, playing around, going to the sun, and sort of Riviera lifestyle.
With the pictures, absolutely.
Yeah,
and yet a more Machiavellian figure in history you couldn't wish to meet.
Absolutely, but there must have been a charm and a playfulness about her, and I think that's what we wanted to kind of emphasise with
agreed.
it. So there was an ease, as the ease that you were talking about, really there, Toby, and then that sort of light, playful, attractiveness, because there must have been it does get dark at some points, and that's also reflected. But at this point, it's all like, I wonder what she was doing.
There was one thing I noticed that Toby and I both did, and you did the opposite of.
Oh.
And that was, we both emphasised the word unforgettable. You emphasised the word affair. Because actually in that sentence, the affair is much more important than the fact it was unforgettable.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So hearing you do that, my brain suddenly went, of course, the word affair is the one that's
all
actually
about the affair.
Play, how do you say that? Well, now, gang, it's time for the wild card.
Woohoo!
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Are you ready?
Toby, can you pick one of the scripts for Sam or me and give us a new direction, if you would?
Yes. So with being saucy in mind, some little inspiration came to. Mark, can you...
Mark, saucy Mark.
I want to hear saucy Mark read my script.
Oh, God.
We all want to hear that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now he's worried.
Whoa, okay.
That'll liven it up.
Now, next, you want to find some initial information about what type of EVC they'd like and discuss some options with them, such as what benefits or disadvantages could come with certain product choices. The types of things a customer would need to consider are size, aesthetics, girth, safety features, connectivity from the installation location. Oh, and finally, whether it's a suitable product for the existing electrical system at the property, which you'll have to assess when you conduct the site survey. But the customer should understand that this could affect the product options available to them.
You had to go there,
That
didn't
moan
you?
on effect? Oh my God.
I quite enjoy that. Can you tell what I thought an EVC was from that particular read?
Oh, my imagination is running.
I love that was you being so saucy. It's very Gary on.
Oh my word.
Loved it. Loved it. Can't think of anything better than that.
I can only apologise if I've embarrassed anyone.
Not at all. It was just that I just knew you would go there with the size and girth.
Oh, yes.
Popped to those in, didn't you?
It felt
Thought we
like it
wouldn't notice.
added something.
Did that something?
We definitely gained something.
How do you feel, though? Do you feel a bit dirty?
I feel a bit dirty. I do
wash.
feel a bit dirty, yes.
I bet you do. I could hear that in your voice. Okay.
Blimey.
So who's got the next choice? That's what I want to know.
So, Sam, why don't you suggest one for
That's right. Thank
Toby,
God. We're
and
back
then
on track. We're back on track.
I'll suggest one for you.
Okay. So this is leaning into the video game voice in you.
Nice.
I would like you... Oh, I don't know. Don't care which script, actually. First script. Your script.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like you to be a soldier on a mission. Now,
Okay.
you could be on a mission in a big battlefield with lots and lots of noise, stuff going on. You could be secretly camped out in a house and you don't want anyone to hear you. Or you could be a bit of both.
Like an NPC character?
Yeah.
Okay.
Soldier on a mission.
Right, next, you want to find some initial information about what type of EVC they would like. And discuss some options with them, such as benefits, disadvantages, and what would certain product choices, type of things you'll need, aesthetics, cost, safety features, connectivity from the installation location, and finally whether it's suitable for the existing electrical system, which you assess when you conduct the site survey. But the customer should understand that this could affect the product options available.
Wow. Talk me through where you were, Toby.
I was being shot at on a battlefield.
Oh!
I really got that. I thought the way that you brought that to life with the humanization and the emotes, I thought that was really lovely.
You kept taking a hit, yeah.
And this is the kind of stuff that you're specialising in now, isn't it? This is the kind of stuff that you're doing more of.
Yes, definitely. We're wanting to get more into this side of things.
Yeah.
It's definitely more exciting to me, I feel.
Do you think you were more First World War or more sci-fi war?
Ooh, so I was sort of picturing behind, slumped over a barrier or some trenches in the mud, First World War sort of style.
Yeah, you see, interesting, because I got First World War way more from what you did there. Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Nice.
Yes, rather than futuristic.
Yeah, because futuristic generally tends to be a lot more cleaner.
Yes, it does actually, doesn't it? Yes, yeah, I guess, yeah.
The future is dry.
The future is dry and shiny.
Those planets are dry out there, guys. They're not muddy. There's no wet.
No mud. All right, Sam. One for you.
Oh God, what are you going to give me?
I'd like you to, as opposed to gaming, I'd like you to go to animation kind of style.
Right.
I would like you to be a friendly train.
Oh,
but a train that talks. So possibly a younger audience.
Okay.
Like Thomas audience or Paw Patrol kind of style audience.
Okay.
And I would like you to do... It's mean to say Wallis Simpson, but I'm going to say Wallis Simpson. I'm going to say your script.
Okay.
So I don't think the kids have to really understand what's going on.
No.
But I'm really, if you can capture that kind of character for me, that would be lovely.
Can you give me an action?
Oh, I think you're probably in the train shed, maybe being filled with water and coal, perhaps if you're a steam train.
And I'm chatting to other trains.
Chatting to other trains.
It's chatting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, chatting.
Okay.
Like you've just seen this documentary on Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're almost telling them the story.
Oh,
from your perspective.
The story of what you've
we're really
seen.
filling in the backstory to this little train, aren't we? Okay.
You asked.
Okay.
Oh, now, most of what we know about Wallis Simpson is the unforgettable affair that led to the abdication of King Edward VIII. Yes, I know, yet Bessie Wallis Warfield was once just a girl from Blue Ridge Summit, from Blue Ridge Summit. So... we ask ourselves, how exactly did this American socialite and divorcee lure the King of England away from the throne, and what was Edward's strategy here? Did he ever really want to become a king at all? Was Wallis simply a guaranteed way out of a life he never wanted in the first place?
Lovely, and so completely not what I was expecting.
Really?
Oh, what were you expecting? Because that's sort of like the feel that I thought she was going to do.
You went a lot younger. You were at the level of your audience completely, and I loved that. And you were young and playful, and it really worked. And
Little girl train.
yes, very much little girl having her best day train.
Best day ever. They do on those
almost
those
like
cartoons.
she's telling her friend trains like a secret that maybe she shouldn't, or like the giggles and humanization.
Yeah, totally. And you brought her to life, which was just lovely. No. That was really lovely and way different from what I expected. But
really
fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Well, as always, we've put the scripts in the show notes so you can have a try yourself in the comfort and privacy of your very own booth.
Yes, you absolutely can. Now, our question this week, Toby, is: so you've got a background in game development. How has that helped you as a voice actor?
One thing about game design or game development is one of the ways you sort of learn how to do things is by playing games. And, lots of the games have voices in. So just playing them and listening to what other people have done in games and then sort of taking that and maybe in my own time just recording like a script that I saw in a game and doing it myself and sort of comparing. I sort of find that to be quite fun and interesting, and can also help for game design as well, not just VO.
Yeah.
So I think it's a similar thing. Like if you want to do movies, you watch movies. But I think with games, because there's such a diverse range, it can really help, and trying like lots of different games out.
And so have you found characters within those games that you feel suit you, that you've kind of been able to try out? Have you kind of developed characters that are sort of in your wheelhouse, as it were, in your repertoire?
It really helps for like character creation and that type of thing, because you see a character and you can see fully how they behave in the game and the choices they made, and I sort of apply aspects to what I see, and then I sort of create my own character from a composite of all these other different characters I've seen.
If you're not a gamer, Toby, it's obviously more difficult, but there are great resources in YouTube and places like that where you can watch people playing the game and see lots of dialogue and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Walkthroughs are the big one. That's basically just someone fully playing the whole game. Sometimes it's with someone talking, sometimes it isn't. But those can help. There are also text walkthroughs online, things like that. Games without voiceover but have a story, I also find really interesting for voiceover as well. And the way you can tell a story not through speech, I think that helps with voiceover as well, like with humanization and adding in other things that isn't just talking.
Yeah.
So no actual language.
Yeah, so there's some games that don't have language but have text on the screen. There's some that do it through purely color, tell a story via color. I find that like really interesting. Sometimes I see scripts online and I sort of take small snippets of those and try and create characters through those. And sometimes it's just whatever comes to me in my head and what I need to say in sort of the moment, like the improv of it. I really enjoy improv and improvising characters.
Do you do improv outside of... Do you do it as a hobby?
Yeah, so I've done some, they're not really classes, but like improvising, like get-togethers with people in Manchester.
Yeah.
And I also play Dungeons and Dragons, which is a whole big
of course you do, Toby.
game.
Of course you do.
Do you know, interestingly...
Of course I do.
The other character I had for today, and I didn't use it for the wild card, was a Dungeons and Dragons master. And I thought, as we were talking, I bet he would find that easy. I bet he does D&D.
I've got
that's really
a D&D game I'm running this Saturday.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that would have
Good
been
for you.
Literally a busman's holiday.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I chose the other one for you.
Oh, Toby, thanks for joining us on the podcast. Hope you've enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, it's been brilliant. Thank you.
Oh, it's lovely having you.
Well, all of Toby's details can be found in the show notes, of course.
And of course, the scripts are there too. So do like and subscribe and leave a review on Apple Podcasts.
Yes, absolutely. That's it for this week. Thanks again to Toby Jackson. We'll be back again next week with I'll be recording from Gran Canaria on holiday, by the way, in the sunshine.
Stop it.
But we'll have more scripts and another voiceover guest in the rain, probably, when we'll be asking him. So when we do the title all together, Toby, are you ready? We'll be asking next week, how do you say that? How do you say that?